I'm Miles. I'm a volunteer genealogist at the Phoenix Irish Cultural Center's McClelland Library. This presentation is a tutorial on the use of the AmericanAncestors.org website, sponsored by the New England Historic Genealogy Society. Today we're going to take a look at their website and how we can use it in doing our Irish research. The first thing you need to know is that this website is a subscription website, and we subscribe to it at the McClelland Library. So if you come in to visit us, you will be able to use this for free. Or if you'd prefer, you could subscribe to this yourself from home, and you would have to pay an annual fee. And I believe right now a single membership in this is about $79 a year. And it's a good value, especially if you have ancestors who immigrated through the New England area, even through Canada, because a lot of the Canadians came down from Canada after they arrived into the New England area, especially into Massachusetts, to work in the mills and things like that. So it's a really good site for Irish ancestors who immigrated along the northeastern seaboard of the United States and Canada. So let's start by looking at the toolbar across the top in blue, and the first item is the search tab, and it gives you a list of the databases that you can search. There's an advanced search thing which you can be general across all the databases, or you can take a look and search on an individual one like vital records, journals, census, immigration, court, military, genealogies. The Great Migration Study Project, which is all the people that came over from Europe, more specifically in the 1600s. But it's a great one if you had somebody back there in the colonial times coming to the U.S. This is a wonderful place to look for those people. Then there's all kinds of atlases, maps, and other reference materials. They have a feature, They have a feature where you can browse their databases, all the different databases they have. You can see what they are and choose and pick which ones you want to search if you want to be very specific. They have some special interest databases, and they have all kinds of articles, guides, and studies that you can view. There's the New England, I should say, Genealogy Society has an extensive library, and you can search their catalog from this tab. And they have a digital book and manuscript collections that you can also view. Okay, so that's the search tab. Under services, if you want to, you can consult an expert online or by phone. If you're a member, you get certain benefits there. You can also pay them to help you do their research, and you can ask them genealogist questions there. It's a really good website for doing that sort of thing. They have a learning tab, all kinds of guidelines, webinars. They do, I know, at least once a month they have an Irish webinar. It's usually on a Saturday early in the morning in Phoenix time, but they have a webinar and you can sign up for that, and they have all topics every month, a new topic. The library has an extensive collection. This tab will tell you all about it and give you a catalog. And they have frequent events, upcoming seminars, in-person, online conferences, things that you could use to advance your genealogical knowledge and skills. A news thing with all the news, latest news from their website, and a bookstore where you can purchase books of a lot of different topics. Okay, so in order to use this website effectively, let's take a look at the search menu, and let's do an advanced search. And what I'm going to do today is search on a gentleman named Elie, E-L-I-E, and at one point he was known as Elie Bailey, and he was born in about 1887 in Canada. But I'm going to start a little bit earlier, and do 86. And let's just assume he lived 100 years. He didn't, probably, but that will make sure we capture everything. Now, one word of caution, in this years thing, if you were on Family Search and you knew he was born in 1887, you could put 1887 in both these boxes and you would find him. Now, in this database, if you did that, you're probably not going to get anything, because all it's going to do is go look for records that are dated 1887. And since Elie was born in Canada, you're probably not going to get a response. So what you want to do is you want to put a range here of when you think the person was alive, or if you say he was married in 1889, then you could zero in on 1889, and then you'd maybe find the marriage record. But you need to be really careful that this is a range or you have an exact date that you're already aware of. Okay, I happen to know that even though Ellie was born in Canada, he ended up in Lowell, Massachusetts. So another warning, don't put too much information in during your first search. These are filters, and they're going to filter all the records. And if you get too much information or maybe spell something wrong, it may eliminate any chance of getting records. So keep this very general your first time. You can always go back and adjust it later. Okay? So let's try this search on Ellie. And we've come up with 3 records as a response. The first one is a 1930 census in Lowell. Ellie Bailey, 43 years old. Well, that puts him back to 1887 birth date. He's male, does a household number, and you can click and view the image. The original image, so we'll do that. And there's the census page, and the New England has a very good filming. The New England Society has a very good filming of these records, and their quality is always pretty high. So if you were on Ancestry and you got a census record that was a little dodgy, you might want to come over here to American Ancestors and take a look and see if they don't have a better filming of it. But anyway, let's take a look, and we'll zoom in here a little bit. And here we see Lowell, Middlesex County, Massachusetts, Ward 5, Block 84. It was taken on April 21st, 1930. And the very first entry on this page is Ellie Bailey. There we go, blow that up a little bit. And he's the head, and his wife's name is Blanche, and his son Raymond, daughter Irene, another daughter, and a son named Hector, and it gives the birth. And we'll scan over here, and we see Hector was born in Canada, Blanche was born in Massachusetts, all the children were born in Massachusetts, everybody's parents, Blanche and Ellie's parents were born in Canada, French Canada, probably Quebec would be a guess, but you need to verify that. And he's a conductor on the street railway system, and he immigrated from Canada in 1893, that's right, and he was naturalized. So we have an opportunity here maybe to find a naturalization record, which would give a lot of information about where he came from and when. And as with all census records, 1893 is probably a pretty good guess, since this is a more contemporary record, but you always need to make sure you verify that because they're often wrong. So anyway, that's a good find right away. The 1930 census gave a lot of information, so let's go back to results. And as I recall, there was a second record for Ellie. Now it's Ellie Belly, so spelled B-E-L-L-E-Y. I wouldn't have wanted to gone through high school with that name, Ellie Belly, because I think they would have a lot of fun with that. But anyway, be that as it may, here's a marriage record. So if he was born in 1887, he would be 25 years old at this time. So let's see if that's him. So we take a look, and we find an original record, which is great. And if we search down, let's see, let's blow this up. 75. Here he is on number 675. We'll take and blow that up one more time. Here we go, September 16th, and it was 1912. Ellie, Belly, and Blanche. So this looks right. Blanche was the name on the census in Lowell. De Marais is her last name. She's 20 years old, so that would make her born about 1882. No, I'm saying 1892. It's a first marriage for both of them. They're both from Lowell. They both work in a mill. Lowell was famous for its textile mills. He's born in Canada. She's born in Lowell. His father is Joseph Belly. Her father's Alfred de Marais. His mother is Louise Perron. Her mother is Emerance. That's an E if you look real carefully. Emerance Pewet. And then Rudolph Fortier was the priest. And this was registered on September 16th, the day they were married. So we got lucky, and we found the original marriage record. So let's go back to the results. And there was a third entry, but based on the spelling, it phonetically might be similar, but it doesn't appear to be the same fella, although maybe we should open it and just make sure. See what it is. I have my doubts that anybody would misspell that name quite that badly, but you never know, so it is worth checking. And this is a birth record, so we'll go back because it was 1899, and that's not going to be our Ellie. So, having done that search, let's try a different search. This time we're going to do Father Joseph, and I'm going to assume, since Ellie came over in 1893, he would only have been 6 or 7 years old, so I'm going to assume that his father Joseph came as well, and that 6-year-old Ellie did not come without his parents. So, but this time we're going to do Belly, and that is likely the original name of this family, and they modernized it when they got to the U.S. Belly. Joseph would have been born in the 1800s. I'm going to stretch it because we don't know how old he was when Ellie was born, so I'm going to say 1820 to 1920 just to be safe. And let's try Lowell again and just see if we get lucky. And likely he would have been born in Canada, but let's not put any more information in. Okay, there we go. We find a Joseph Belly immediately, and we have to be sure this is the right guy. And how do we do that? Let's see. Massachusetts, vital records, death on February 5th, 1919, or that may be May 2nd. I don't know how they've done their records. We'll have to look. Oh, 13 March, yeah, it's probably February 5th. And it's on page 1 of the Lowell death records. His father was George Bailey. His mother was Leonarda Bouchard. And his spouse, Marie Louise Perron. Well, remember from Ellie's birth record, his mother was Louise Perron. So this is the right Joseph Belly. So we've now found a death record. And let's see what kind of an image we get, whether it's an abstract or an original record. And voila, we get his actual death record from the Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I should say, Middlesex County, Lowell. Gives his home address, Joseph Belly, male, white, married, died on May 2nd, 1919. So we saw the records the way we thought they're written in the European style. His wife was Marie Louise Perron, and he was born on November 28th, and oops, this looks like a mistake. 1919 is when he died, so he was somewhere, it would say he was 66 years, 5 months, 66 years, 5 months, 4 days old. So that would take him back to about 1852 or 1853. 1852 or 3. 52 probably, given 5 months and 66 years. Okay, and he worked as a second hand in a mill in Merrimack. I'm not sure exactly what a second hand was. Somebody helping out, I guess, a helper and an assistant probably. He died from carcinoma of the buccal cavity, which is your mouth, your oral cavity. So he had mouth cancer, which is sad. And he was born in Canada. His father was George Belly. He was born in Canada. His mother is Leonarda Bouchard. She was also born in Canada. The informant was his wife, so I think we can depend that this record is fairly accurate, given as it was his wife who gave the information. And here's the burying information, St. Joseph's in Clemford, Massachusetts. Well, that was a great find. So it's amazing. We found 3 records for this family, and we've gotten 3 generations established, the names of the parents and the next generation and the next generation. So it was pretty great search with only 3 records, how far we got. So let's go back to the home page. hold on the search drop-down menu. And again, we could select any of these things to do our next searches. If we wanted to say, okay, let's see if there's any other tax records, or maybe we can find the immigration record for the Bellies, the Baileys, the Bellies, and probably we're going to find that that name is interchangeable throughout different records at different times when things were recorded. American ancestor searches are very straightforward, as you've just seen. They're very simple. If you get the right people and the right names, spelling's important. So I think I would recommend to you, before you get into this and start looking for your records, that you do some very simple searches. You try everything, see how it works, see what doesn't work. For example, remember I told you when you do the advanced search, if you just do like in family search and just put, 1915, expecting that's when a person was born, and if he was born in 1914, you won't get him. So you got to make sure this is a range, usually almost always a range. Very seldom, unless you're exactly sure of a date, you don't want to just put the same date in both boxes. Just best to explore this site from beginning to top to bottom. And we appreciate you taking your time to look at this with me. We're welcoming you as soon as possible. Come into the library. We can sit down and go through this some more. You can use it at your convenience. And we're looking forward to seeing you at the McClelland Library. So thanks for your time and attention.